What is an interpreter? A person who provides oral communication between individuals who speak different languages. The interpreter must be able to fluently speak both languages to effectively and efficiently interpret between both languages. For instance, an interpreter may interpret between one person who speaks Spanish and another person who speaks Italian. What is a translator? A person who provides written document communication between entities who speak different languages. The translator must be fluent, both written and spoken, in order to effectively and efficiently translate between both languages. For instance, a translator may translate a document from English to Swahili. Where do interpreters and translators work? Interpreters and translators work in a variety of settings, including schools, hospitals, courtrooms, meeting rooms, conference centers, translation and interpretation companies, individual organizations, and private clients. Most people focus on doctors, lawyers, or judges when they think of ethical choices that professionals must make. But what about interpreters and translators? There are several common ethical standards which are accepted across all professions. What are ethics? Ethics are moral principles that govern a person's behavior while performing a job duty or an activity. Interpreters are expected to follow a code of ethics that outline their professional responsibilities and obligations. Some common ethical dilemmas that interpreters face include: what is an ethical dilemma? An ethical dilemma is a situation where an individual has to make a decision between two or more options, and the decision selected may have significant consequences. Interpreters are expected to follow a code of ethics that outline their professional responsibilities and obligations. Some examples of common ethical dilemmas that interpreters face include: 1. Offering advice or opinions. Interpreters should avoid offering advice or opinions, even if they are qualified to do so. If a non-English speaker or client attempts to consult with an interpreter, the interpreter should step out of their role as a language conduit and into their role as a clarifier. They should explain in both languages that they are only there to interpret and cannot answer questions directed to them, give advice, or give their opinion. 2. Offering personal help outside of the session. Interpreters should not offer personal help outside of the session, including giving rides, gifts, and community resource help. If the non-English speaker asks for help outside of the session, the interpreter should politely say that they are just the interpreter and are not allowed to help outside of the session. 3. Accepting gifts. Interpreters are not allowed to accept gifts, tips, or extra compensation from the parties for whom they interpret. 4. Picking up something they've dropped or helping with a fall. Interpreters should avoid any conduct or behavior that presents the appearance of favoritism toward any of the parties. They should maintain professional relationships with their clients and should not take an active part in any of the proceedings. These are just a few examples of ethical dilemmas that interpreters may encounter. Although ethical issues appear to have little to do with interpretation and translation services, most interpreters and translators will face more than one ethical dilemma throughout their career. At Dantli Corp, our interpreters and translators are guided by 8 ethical principles while providing services. 1. Accuracy and fidelity. Interpreters strive to render all messages in their entirety accurately, as faithfully as possible, and to the best of their ability without addition, distortion, omission, or embellishment of the meaning. Summary: only interpret what is spoken and how it was originally intended. Do not add or take away from what is originally spoken. 2. Confidentiality. Interpreters will not disclose and will treat as confidential all information learned, either uttered or written, in the performance of their professional duties, while adhering to relevant requirements regarding disclosure. Summary: do not repeat any information obtained during your assignments. 3. Impartiality. Interpreters strive to maintain impartiality by showing no preference or bias to any party involved in the interpreted encounter. Summary: do not have an opinion on anything discussed during your assignment. 4. Respect others. Interpreters demonstrate respect towards all parties involved in the interpreted encounter. Summary: treat everyone the way you would like to be treated. 5. Always maintain boundaries. Interpreters strive to perform their professional duties within their prescribed role and refrain from personal involvement. Summary: Remain professional at all times. Do not engage in personal conversations while on assignments. 6. Accountability. Interpreters are responsible for the quality of interpretation provided and accountable to all parties and the organizations engaging the interpreter service. Summary: always perform to the best of your ability. 7. Professionalism. Interpreters should always act in a professional and ethical manner. Summary: always remain professional even when you think no one is watching you. 8. Continued competence. Interpreters commit themselves to lifelong learning in recognition that languages, individuals, and services evolve and change over time. A competent interpreter strives to maintain the delivery of quality interpretation. Summary: continuously improve your skills. Take additional courses to remain abreast of changes in the industry. Conclusion: these 8 ethical principles are a guide and not a how-to procedure. Each situation is different, and the interpreter and translator will have to respond based on each particular situation.